Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. And so this channel I've created for those who are doing their end time interview preparation for SDE, especially because we usually focus on coding part, DSA part, but we forget these topics. So if you are a person who's preparing for the interviews at the end time, so you can take help of this. This is going to be a short, precise video where you'll have just the basics so that you can answer at least a few questions. And so I'm making this video in order to help you with your end time preparation. So we will not go into much detail, we'll just have an overview of all these topics. So starting with the basics of operating system. So what does its theory say? So basically operating system can be defined as a software that takes control of your machine after it is turned on. So basically the operating system is a software that acts like an in charge of your machine or the computer that you're using. It also acts like a manager between the applications and the hardware. So it's basically an interface that helps the applications contact with the hardware. So what the basic conceptual structure is, we're going to see that. So we start from the user, that's us, and then we interact with applications such as Chrome, Word, calculator, anything that you're using. Then from applications we move on to the operating system, and its example could be Linux, Windows, etc. And then this interacts with the hardware, that is the CPU or the memory, etc. So this is the basic structure of how we communicate with our systems. So at the first level it is us or the user. Then we contact the applications. So we basically interact directly with the applications, and the applications interact with the operating system, which then interact with the hardware. So this is the basic structure of operating systems use. Now we are going to also understand a few services that operating systems provide us. So what are the basic services that we get from operating systems? So the first one would be resource management. So what does this talk about? Let's say we are running several programs, such as we are running our music on Spotify, we are running some code on our Visual Studio or any text editor that we're using, and we're also doing the documentation of it on Word. So we have a lot of processes running, a lot of resources that is going on. So the operating system manages them together, like which should be operated when and everything. So basically it acts like a manager. Then the second one would be abstraction. So it basically abstracts the hardware. The operating system abstracts the hardware and it provides system call. So whatever you are doing, let's say we are writing a code. So if operating system is not there, then you might have to code how the mouse works, how the keyboards work, etc. So you'll have to do a lot of things. So these all part, that is the system library codes and everything, are managed by the operating system. And then finally the third one would be protection. So as we saw in resource management that we might be running a lot of apps or a lot of different things together. So what operating system does is that it ensures that one process or one application does not affect the other one. So that means that there should not be any problem because of one particular application in another application. Now, after we're done with the services, let's talk about the very common examples of operating systems. So, firstly, let us talk about the examples of operating system for desktop. So, one of the most common that almost everyone uses is Windows. And then obviously one of the very famous ones, Mac OS, and something that's losing popularity but still has its own say in the world of operating system, Linux. Then talking about mobile phones, like what operating systems are used in mobile phones. So the most common two are Android and iOS. So these are the most common examples. There are a lot of other operating systems that you can discover when you go through examples on the internet, and you'll find several, but these are the most popular ones. Now let us also talk about when do we need operating systems. Do we need it for like every problem? What if I am talking about a lift? So we need to consider about its control, like when should it go where, on which floor. So do we need an operating system in that case? Obviously no. We don't need operating systems for simple problems. We need only for complex systems. So operating systems are only required when the problem is a bit complex and not always. So that's it for today's video. Now we'll move on to the next video to study the next topic.